But we're tired of the lies. No more lies. What happened to Kaylee?
I don't know.
You do.
I don't want anybody to waste their energy on what we've done. I believe she is still alive.
Why not search then?
I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility.
In 2011, a study was published by the Journal of Forensic Sciences, False Allegation of Child Abduction. The purpose of this study was to examine falsely alleged child kidnapping cases and identify successful investigative strategies in the future. The study is broken up into multiple subjects: law enforcement challenges, method of deceptions, missing child report, polygraphs, body disposal, and the conclusion, among others. To summarize the data, here are excerpts from the study that look very familiar in recent cases.
The false claim of abduction provides a means to explain the disappearance of the child, and to shift the focus of the investigation toward an unknown kidnapper and away from the offender. In the absence of a witnessed abduction or an obvious crime scene, it is difficult to know for certain whether a child has actually been abducted or has become the victim of a homicide and a false allegation. Law enforcement investigators are forced to rely primarily on subjective assessments of whether the reporting party is being truthful, rather than on specific, identifiable criteria. 61 adjudicated false allegation cases involving 66 victims were analyzed. The mean age of the victim was 5 years. Victims came from generally unstable, high-risk family situations and were killed primarily by biological parents, with the most common offenders being mothers. Most offenders acted alone, involving a secondary offender in 25% of cases.
In 71% of the cases, the victim was reported missing abducted by the primary offender. The offender reported the last known sighting of the victim as their residence in 54% of the cases. The victims in this study came from resource-deprived, higher-stress homes. Other problems identified in this study included medical concerns, multiple toddlers in the same household, and child custody issues. The majority, 92%, of victim families in this study suffered from some type of domestic problem. There was also evidence of instability within the victim families. In 58% of the cases, there was a change in the family structure within 6 months prior to the offense. The study found two primary reasons false allegation victims died at the hands of their parents or caregivers. They were unwanted, 37%, or as a result of a fatal child abuse incident, 34%. Children who were killed because they were unwanted were often viewed as obstacles to the offender's sexual relationships. These sentiments were often expressed in confessions or by witnesses who had interactions with the parent-caregiver prior to the offense.
Although polygraphs are not admissible in court, their value as an investigative tool should not be overlooked. In this study, 43% of the offenders agreed to take a polygraph. Of those offenders, 88% failed their polygraphs and 4% were inconclusive. The fact that the majority of guilty offenders took the polygraph and failed it is reason enough to strongly consider using this investigative technique when faced with a possible false allegation of child abduction. The success of the polygraph in these cases is often aided by the community's expectation that a parent or caretaker will take, and theoretically pass, a polygraph, when a child is alleged to have been abducted or has gone missing. The pressure on an offender to agree to a polygraph, especially when an offending partner takes and passes the test, is often the tipping point in a false allegation of child abduction investigation. The FBI's CARP recommends polygraphs for parents, guardians, and individuals last to see the victim in cases of mysterious disappearances of children. Serious consideration should be given to the timing of the tests and pre-test interview questions.
The primary cause of death could be determined in 80% of the cases in the study. The three primary causes of death were blunt force trauma, 41%, followed by suffocation asphyxiation, 28%, and drowning, 11%.
Staging, in my opinion, is the most important subject in these types of cases. The inconsistencies and diversion can make the best web sleuths go down the rabbit hole. Unfortunately, the only information within the study states that to find evidence of staging is dependent on the investigator's ability to recognize and document inconsistencies. .68% of the offenses occurred in or around the victim's home.
In 75% of the cases, the homicide location and reported abduction location were within 1 mile of each other. Extensive searches focusing within 1 mile of the reported abduction site, conducted in tandem with an examination of the victim family background and interpersonal dynamics, will substantially improve the odds of solving the case.
The top 3 places for body disposal is water, dumped, uncovered, or other. In conclusion, most victims were under the age of 5, cause of death was primarily blunt force trauma and asphyxiation, and most homicides were committed by the biological parents. Offenses most often occurred in the victim's home, and more than 2/3 were killed inside our residence, while primarily disposed of in water.